Alrighty guys, today we're going to talk about the world's best artificial flower. And it is worth a total of 60 points. You will have a few days in class to work on this, as it comes in about 3 parts. Your task is to invent a flower that can survive in a specified habitat, design pollen of the appropriate size and surface texture to be produced by the flower, and create a pollinator. You cannot use the wind or water. It has to actually be some organism that would come and pollinate your flower. It needs to be able to successfully transport the pollen from the male to the female reproductive structure of your plant species. So you are completely making this up. You can base it off of something real that you've seen, but I don't want it to be another lily or another dogwood tree with flowers. I want it to be something kind of crazy and out there. The information cards will provide you with a few of the flower's characteristics and habitat. You cannot change the characteristics or habitat, however, you are free to go beyond what the cards indicate in the design and construction of your flower, your pollinator, and the pollen modules. All three must function together so that the flower is reproductively successful and the pollinator is able to obtain what it requires from the flower. You will need to create an illustration of the flower, the pollen, the pollinator, and write a short description of how each one functions. So, I have a little checklist there for you. You need to have a picture and a description of your flower, and these things should be colored so that we can tell what color they are, because I'm going to give you a specific color for your flower. It doesn't mean that everything has to be that color, but the flower petals should be that color. A picture and description of function for your pollen. So how big is the pollen? How small is the pollen? Does it have spikes that are going to help it to latch onto something, or is it going to be super lightweight? We've talked a lot about pollen, we've talked about flowers, and we've talked a little bit about different types of pollinators. So you guys have a general understanding of how this stuff works. The last thing you need is a picture and description of function of your pollinator. So you can label the different parts of your flowers, your pollen, and your pollinator. You could look up different insects and see how they pollinate. Below, I have the characteristics and the habitat, which have been randomly assigned to each one of you, so I have your names listed. I have the habitat that you got, the flower color, and one other characteristic. So, for example, if your flowers open only during the night, that's just one part of it. Your flowers could also have a really strong odor, or it could be having a very sweet nectar or something like that, that you have the ability to, or the freedom to make up on your own. Your only constraint is that the flowers can only open at night, which may then influence the type of pollinator that you have. And you're making up your pollinator as well. Say your flowers open at night and you're trying to think of what types of insects are around at night. Moths are out at night, but you wouldn't just want to use a moth as a pollinator. You would want to make him into some kind of big beefy type of moth. So take some time and really think about it. You'll have a few days to go through this. If you have any questions, let me know. Just make these as detailed as possible. Alrighty guys, I will talk to you soon.